This is E3 Digital, a curatorial practice documenting the artists, artifacts, and ideas inscribed on Bitcoin. Today's guest is Solemn, a multidisciplinary artist whose journey spans underground electronic music, digital art, and the frontier of Bitcoin native creation. Before NFTs, Solemn was deeply embedded in Manchester's music scene as a producer, designer, and visual creative. Over the past 5 years, his work has evolved across Tezos, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, blending glitch aesthetics, music, code, animation, and recursion into what he describes as a computer-made art. What interests me most about Solemn's work is that he doesn't seem content creating static images. Instead, he's constantly exploring how digital artifacts can evolve through ownership, participation, provenance, and time itself. Whether through projects like the Ord Lot, block clocks, or his ongoing experiments with recursion and generative systems, his work raises deeper questions about what art on the internet, and increasingly, art on Bitcoin, can become. So today we're going to explore that journey with the Manchester music scene to Bitcoin and discuss creativity, constraints, legacy, and the future of digital art. Please join me in welcoming Solemn. Solemn, welcome to E3 Digital. Bit of a technical difficulty. I'm not, Solemn, can you hear me?
Talking, but then I can actually see you on the.
There you are. Okay, now I got you. Okay. Apologies. Welcome to E3 Digital.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me up.
Yes, my pleasure. And apologies for that little bit of technical difficulty. But we are here, and I want to jump right away into before NFTs, before ordinals, before Solemn. Who were you?
Yeah. So before NFTs came along, I was still involved in the creative scene. I was like working. On one hand, I was working as a graphic designer kind of thing. On the other hand, I was like deeply involved in the electronic music scene in the UK, like underground house and techno scene. So in that world, I wore many hats from graphic designer, promoter, DJ, producer, and everything else, party planner. So yeah, I was always creating, but it's not until I got into NFTs I actually became an artist, kind of thing.
As you just said, you spent years in the Manchester electronic scene, producer, designer, videographer. What did that world teach you about creativity?
Um, it taught me a lot. It taught me how to use the tools first off, and it taught me, yeah, it taught me like the ins and outs of the industry. Like, and it is the tools. It's not just a one learned thing. The kind of tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, them kind of stuff, After Effects. That's like an ongoing learning experience. You have to update as the tools update. They're changing every time. So it taught me how to learn properly, I suppose.
You've said music is your first love and that you try to include it in everything you make. Why has music remained such a central part of your artistic identity?
Um, as a creator, a multidisciplinary creator, I create with code, I do drawing, I make visual, I make video. I do believe music is the most creative of all these disciplines. in order to make, I don't know, I don't play live music. I make like, I digitally produce on computers. So in order to make a piece of art, which I do think music is a piece of art, that on a computer you've got to be fully immersed in it to make it work, as well as making it sound right. You've got to make it, with electronic music in particular, you've got to make it bang. You've got to make it where people want to dance to it as well. So you can't cut any corners with that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why music is my first love.
Looking back now, do you see yourself primarily as an artist who learned technology or a producer who found a new instrument?
That's a great question. I'd say at my heart, I'm a producer. Yeah, so I think I'm a producer who found a new creative outlet kind of thing. And at first, I'd like, I still get imposter syndrome and don't even know if I am an artist. But like my kind of art, I don't really make static art. Always I like to keep my art with motion and movement and kind akin to music. So I feel like at the moment, the kind of art I am making, I am actually producing art. There is drawings involved, but then there's all other parts to it, and there's like even the way I lay it out is kind of the same way of arranging a musical track, kind of thing.
At what point did you realize that digital art could become more than a hobby?
Yeah, so I was already involved in crypto before NFTs came along. As a graphic designer, my skills went down well in like the ICO era of like 2017. So I was around. This is not my first rodeo. 2018, I was there for the bear market and tried to stay into crypto. So when NFTs came along and I saw them, I immediately saw the value for them, like what you can sell art. Because in the past, we've only ever made art like to promote things, kind of thing, and to go with other things. Never like actually seen art be bought and sold. So yeah, around 2001, I think I collected my first art piece, which was an ex copy piece, and I don't think I ever looked back.
That's a similarity we share. My first NFT that I purchased, or not my first NFT, but my first art NFT was also an X copy. Who is I believe a Manchester, another great UK artist. If I
Yeah, I believe he happens to be from London, but yeah, I think
that's
he's.
right.
But yeah, as it happens, one of the first platforms was in Manchester, known origin. It was based in Manchester.
I did not
So
know that.
it was, yeah. So while it was still going, they used to put events on, and I've been to a couple, met the guys and that. And apparently, X Copy was like an early participant in all the early events because he was one of the first people on their platform. So he's got
Yeah,
links. He's got Manchester links. Let's just say.
interesting. Um, yeah, that Known Origin was the platform I used to buy my first X copy. But anyways,
Yeah,
I want us to
yeah.
talk
But,
about. Yeah, you go.
oh, oh no, just as you were saying, like I got my first art NFT, which was also an X Copy. But before that, NFTs kind of came around when he was involved in ICO projects. So there was other NFTs that came along, and I heard of them, but I only actually realized what they could be when I saw art being sold. Because there can be many things. They can be used for tokens. They can be used for rewards. But art, I think his art is the best use case.
I couldn't agree more. I actually fail to see very many other. I mean, I guess that's not true. I see it as the best first use case, but I think there'll be many others, as you've said. Uh, I want to talk about the early days of your NFT art and start with the everydays and kind of go through your artistic evolution. You described your 365-day everydays project as a quote grueling education. What did that
Oh
year
yeah.
teach you?
Oh yeah. First and foremost, it taught me how to get things finished. Because before I was into NFTs, but I started that in 2022, like January 1st, 2022. I started it, but I had been involved for about 6 months in NFTs before that, and I had loads of unfinished things. And I thought at the time, like things was a bit slow, you know. So I thought I'm just gonna do this collection, one piece of art a day. I'm not gonna try and sell them because then that might start messing with my mind, you know. If you can't sell them, so I just thought I'm just gonna work on it, and and yeah, it went well. It was grueling. Every single day, I had to think of a new piece of art. I freestyled it every single day, and it taught me a lot. I got that's where I gained most of my artistic skills. I'd say. I'm
Did it
talking.
change the
I had to take iPads on to festivals and on holiday and all kinds of stuff to get it done. But we got there in the end.
It shows in a tremendous level of dedication. Did you have to change the way you thought about creativity?
Yeah, because at the start I was like working on ideas like tomorrow I'm going to make this art piece, and then because I've got a life to live as well, so you've only got like half a day to work on a piece, maybe even less. So when most of the time when I try to work on an idea and then the idea doesn't go right, then that's a lot of the creative time that I've got for that day wasted. So I just decided in the end, freestyle is the way to start scribbling basically and see where it comes out, and then see what comes out in the end. But somewhere along the line, you get like a kind of idea what the final piece is going to look like, or a title or something like that, and that's when you get the piece finished.
Looking back at your early Tezos and Ethereum work, what do you see now that you couldn't see then?
Um, well, in them days, I was making traditional gifts. I was making glitch art, so our kind of glitch art, like the dark vibe Tezos scene. It's making like distorted glitches and errors and codes. So we was basically simulating them. I was drawing them on my iPad, simulating glitches. I couldn't see that like what I do now with code. I'm actually making real error codes and glitches now with code. So I didn't know Mondays what it would take. I didn't know that you could do it with code. I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about the possibilities of what you can do with code to make art, and I do now.
You've worked across Tezos, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. What has each ecosystem contributed to your development as an artist?
So I'd say Tezos. I'll say that I've said it before and I'll say it again. Tezos is where the best art is. It's like there's no pressure over there to do mechanics and that kind of stuff. It's just good art. But I've the price of the coin, it's not held up very well, so it's made it difficult to be an artist over there on Tezos anymore. But yeah, it's still people create there now for the love of the art. So Tezos taught me about the love of art, let's say. Ethereum, I've, Ethereum taught me a lot about mechanics, minting, about off chain versus on chain, storage solutions, blockchain, ether scans, how to mint from contracts, smart contracts. I'm still learning on Ethereum. Bitcoin taught me about permanence. Um, Bitcoin taught me about finality, you know about the difference between IPFS and the difference between Arweave, and then yeah, Bitcoin taught me. If I had to put it into one word, Bitcoin taught me about permanence.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Was there a moment in which you stopped thinking in terms of images and started thinking in terms of systems?
Yeah, yeah, it's an ongoing process, really, evolution. It's still evolving now, but yeah, like it's like the more you learn, the more you understand how everything works. Like getting into Bitcoin in the early days when fees was sky high, I had to like really think outside the box in order to make glitch art. That's when I first discovered like what libraries was. Generative art. I've heard of it all before, like Fidenza, that type of stuff, but I didn't know what it was at all. So that's when I really had to take a dive into like front end kind of browser tools and libraries. And yeah, since the more I learn about them, about Free.js and the possibilities around it, I've started to think of every art piece I do as a system really now.
Hmm. I want to give a shout out to a couple of the viewers here. I see Ichitoshi, Floorless, Mike, Sanjay, and Kingsman. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
Um, and
Shout out,
commenting.
guys! Shout out! I told Shane, miss you, bro.
Yeah, Ichitoshi was my first guest and another great UK artist.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've actually met him in person, and he's a gentleman, I must say. So
I absolutely believe it.
yeah, I did
And
actually check out that interview. Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, yeah, I was honored. Big fan of the Worms, and big fan of Ichitoshi. Let's talk about music and glitch and production. The word glitch appears throughout your work, from the early Tezos days to glitch codes and glitch pack. What does glitch mean to you?
Look, it's just a little bit of, I suppose, a break from the norm. I suppose
Many
it's like
people.
my kind of music. What I like it's got many glitches in it. I'm into techno and like dark Berlin style techno kind of thing, and it sort of goes hand in hand with glitch.
Can you name a couple of artists?
Yeah, like I follow like DJs mostly. Like I'm into drum code for my techno. That's like Adam Beyer, Cyrus D, them kind of things. I think it's Swedish techno brand, but yeah, really into it.
I'm not familiar, but I'm going to check it out after we get done with this interview. Many people see glitch as an aesthetic, and do you see it as something deeper?
Um, yeah, yeah, I'd say it's more deep than that. Yeah, it's more than aesthetics alone. It's more like maybe because I'm an artist in Web3, which is a pretty obscure thing to be doing, kind of thing. The whole thing is a glitch, maybe.
Is it like a philosophy? Is it a way of life? Is it is it a mindset? Is it a feeling? Like, how would you describe it?
I'd say being an artist in Web3 in this up and down world, up and down markets, people, sometimes you're selling art, sometimes you're not. It's it's a mind game in itself.
Mm,
It's a recipe for insanity. Some would say, you know.
mm.
So I think maybe glitch kind of goes hand in hand with that kind of life. But no one's asking us to do it. We choose to do it. This life. But yeah, it's not. It's certainly not a regular life as a full time artist. You know.
I couldn't agree more with that. There is something that's very, uh, crypto about glitch art. Um, Something about the culture it does kind of speak to. Maybe the volatility is the sort of, as you pointed out. You often describe your process using music production, language, layering, sequencing, arranging, orchestration. How does producing music influence the way you build art?
Yeah. So producing music the way I do, I use like sequences and like it's basically the same as laying out a video editing tool. What I'm trying to say is laying out a track and laying out a video and laying out a GIF. They're all similar. They're all the similar kind of thing. It's like the same kind of process. As you use a sequencer and you lay it out that way. So I was into music first, but when I came into animation and stuff like that, After Effects, I picked it up straight away. Like it was no problem to me. It was like water off a duck's back using After Effects because I just already understood everything. And then later on, now going into Free.js, I understood it straight away because I already understand the lingo. You see, the syntax kind of thing.
Yeah, and the more I study your work, the more I've wondered, are you actually a musician who happens to use code rather than a coder who happens to make art? Is that a fair characterization?
It's very yeah, it's a very fair yeah. And I wouldn't like to say maybe I'm a bit of both.
Hmm.
I don't
You,
know
you,
whether I'd ever call a producer a musician as well. Producing, I think it's a different thing than being a musician. A musician plays an instrument, while a producer makes music, kind of thing. I don't play an instrument. That's the thing. I don't know how to play it. I can play the piano, kind of thing. Not professionally, but I just know how to use the. It's a real technical job producing a track using the software. It's really technical. So yeah, it's kind of like a second language to me, and it's just the same language that you speak when making video art and GIF art and that type of stuff. It's the same language and Free.js, as I said, which is a whole new frontier to play with.
how I want to talk about that 3JS frontier. When did you stumble into it, and how has your the technique and technical capabilities and skills that you learned as a producer, how has that translated to this new sort of I mean, maybe using code as an instrument, if you will, this
Yeah,
new sort
yeah,
of, how do you
that's a
see
great
that?
question. Yeah, and yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, and I have been using it. So Free.js, I actually came across it when I got onto Bitcoin. When my explorations of how to make very small size glitch art on Bitcoin, I stumbled across the on-chain monkey dimensions libraries. They were some like early libraries that was stored onto Bitcoin. That's many cool generative projects have already used. So on Bitcoin, if I use a library, it's a little bit of it stored inside my code, like a little snippet of it. It's stored inside my code. So these libraries that I found have already been used by some of the biggest projects like Flora Farms and like On-Chain Monkey and many other projects have used these certain libraries. So yeah, I found out about them, and then straight away I went to work with them, playing around. And I understood the people said to me, "Oh, stay away from that. You might not understand it at all." But I understood it straight away, like because I already work with 3D art. It's just the same language, and it's a great tool. I'm currently following the page, and I follow the page on X, and there's a lot of activity going on with it. People are building crazy stuff with this AI and Free.js. The sky's the limit. Plugging that into the back of Bitcoin with Bitcoin's data and that kind of stuff. We're only just scratching the surface, I'd say. But yeah, music wise, yeah, I've used it to like because I understand synthesization. I've kind of like made my own like music production like instruments, but live inside Free.js.
Hmm.
Yeah, some of them are already on Bitcoin. Some of them are coming soon. I've kind of worked out how to make like what I call a programmable GIF. It looks like a GIF from the front, but you can add music to it and you know interactively where you can turn it on and off. But it just looks like a GIF. It renders like a GIF, but behind it is code kind of thing.
You said that's a project that you're working on.
And also, I've made a load of programmable GIFs kind of thing. I did a you might have some. I don't know if you've seen my piece Block Runner on Bitcoin. That's
Yes,
like
I
a
have.
yeah. I'd call that. That's what I call it. It just runs like a GIF.
I see.
So if you understand what a GIF is, a GIF. Anytime you see a GIF, all you're looking at is a HTML render that's showing it you on the screen. So you never actually can see the GIF. The HTML screen plays the GIF to you. So it doesn't have to be a GIF. It can be anything else. It can look like a GIF, but behind it, it can have a complicated program, essentially a JavaScript app acting as an artwork. So that's what that basically is.
Yeah, actually, I mean, just to be quite frank, we've definitely hit a limit on my clear understanding of the technicals. I understand HTML is a website formatting language. Could you maybe explain to me? You said uh, a GIF is nothing but an HTML that plays. Can you explain that to me again?
Yeah, so GIF basically is like a flip book of images. Basically, that's what a GIF is. It's like say five images what play through one after the other. So
Yes,
when you so you put that into a file, but if you look at it on your phone, when you look at it, HTML renders it up for you to look at it to view it. So anytime you ever view a GIF, you're viewing a HTML render of that GIF. It's just playing them images through for you. It's like a little miniature program playing through. So
I understand. Okay.
I understand it now. We don't have to. It doesn't have to be only that playing through. It can be anything else. You've not actually got a name now. The kind of the artworks, but I've made a couple of them. You might have seen like an image what you can click and things happen with it. They're interactive. Sometimes they've got browser audio added into the back. The ones on Bitcoin are actually using the libraries, the existing libraries. So they're using Block Runner's actually using the Wizards of Ord library for the music, and it's using the on-chain Monkey Dimensions library for the Free.js. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. Firm favorite of mine.
You've spoken about acid on Bitcoin. What does this phrase mean to you?
So Acid is a musical algorithm that I've created. Um, I've been tweaking over the past couple of months, probably the past year. It's probably getting close to being done now. What I'm trying to do is get the authentic acid. If you know about acid house, which was big in like the Manchester music scene, it's like kind of like the granddaddy of a lot of music. But the music that I listen to now, the granddaddy of it all is acid, which was like a music scene. So it was all acid was pretty much all run by the same sound, which was it was called the Roland 303. It was a basically a music hardware thing that you make bass lines with. It's called a Roland 303, and that made the classic acid sound. So I've been trying to make acid on Bitcoin with using the same libraries I was talking about before. The um, the Tone JS library from Wizards of Ord. Yeah, that's the one. That's what I've been doing. But yeah, I've basically been synthesizing an algorithm on Bitcoin called Acid, which you might be seeing sometime soon in a project. But it has actually been used in a couple of artworks already because it's reusable. You see, so by the time it goes public, it'll probably just be like a little music production, app what's built on Bitcoin that anyone can use to make their own little rhythms, kind of thing.
That makes sense. You've I want to shift now and talk about art on Bitcoin specifically. You've said
Okay.
that arriving at Bitcoin changed your work because of the constraints of the protocol and it forced you to rethink everything. Can
Yeah,
you explain what happened?
yeah. So I came from like a place where size didn't matter. You could make a GIF that was 15 megabytes, and that was not a problem. And many of my making traditionally glitch art I was making was always massive file sizes, like 25 to 30 megabytes for an artwork was common just to make the glitches because the compression algorithm it doesn't like flashes and stuff like that and glows. So when I've come to Bitcoin, like first off, total file size is like 400 kilobytes, but at the time, fees was through the roof. Fees was like 100 sat VB. So making something for like what was making something at 100 even 100 kilobytes would have been like ridiculously priced. Like I'm sure if you was around at the time, you remember like people was paying easy $500 to mint something for what was 100 kilobytes. So I had to rethink everything, yeah, and work out how to make my kind of glitch art using different tools. That's as I said before, that's how I got into code. That's the first time I ever even looked into code. I've never done any coding. Never didn't even know what HTML was before that. So then leaned into it. You could, if you went through my works, which um, Ord.net's got a great feature because if you go into the collection, you can put it from like chronological timeline. So if you did go into my works, you'd be able to see the early experiments, which now I think, oh, I should have done that bit different, you know. But there was an early experiments. That was like the first time I ever used P5JS. First time I ever made an internet active work. The first time I ever added music. You know, if anyone's listening, it's all there in the BTC editions collection. I think there's like 32 pieces. What was all dropped at different times as editions. Then I've consolidated it into one thing. So every edition I've made on Bitcoin is all in one collection now. I'm pretty pleased with that. Galleries are a great touch.
Most artists see constraints as limitations. You seem to treat them as creative opportunities. Why?
Yeah, that's I have heard artists, many people say, "Oh, the restraints on Bitcoin," but it's a put off. But to me, it's like restraints are a grounds for creativity. So when something's as simple, it gives simple is good, better, less is more kind of thing. And yeah, so I do like restraints, like, and I think it's a feature, not a bug.
I'm just taking some notes on what you're saying. Um, what was the moment you realized recursion wasn't just a technical feature, but an artistic medium?
Yeah, so I was around in ordinals before recursion was kind of merged into the protocol. Um, Before that, I didn't take as much interest as I should have. I admit it. I did drop a collection early on in like the first. I think my first inscription was 114k, and we dropped a mini collection of 15 pieces, 15 parrots, between 114k and 250k. Then I kind of stepped away because all I could see was people making pixel art and that kind of thing, static stuff. I was kind of still into it was too my kind of art, glitch art. Like at the time, it was impossible kind of thing. It was only when recursion came along, and kind of as soon as it came out, I kind of grasped exactly what it was, that we can use stuff from other inscriptions in this inscription. That's when I really started to take notice of ordinals and really started to get involved. Because before that, it was pretty my kind of art. It was pretty much unusable. Ordinals at the time with the prices.
One phrase that keeps appearing throughout your work is living digital artifacts. What is a digital artifact?
Digital artifact is a digital good that is stored on a blockchain, properly stored, not a link to an IPF link, actual stored on a blockchain. So Bitcoin ordinals is the perfect example of a digital artifact.
Most digital art is static. Your work often evolves, reacts, and changes over time. Why is that important to you?
Um, Never really thought about it. I've always come from an area of motion, of movement, of music.
Hmm.
That's everything's always moving. It's never still. So I'd say on ordinals, I've only ever minted like one or two static images, one or two at the start. That's it. Literally everything I've done has always been animated. But the same, like if you went through me every day, you'd probably find about 20 to 30 static images, and everything else is motion. As a collector myself, which I am, I kind of lean towards stuff that's visually nice, visually catches my eye. I rarely go for the story if I'm going to buy some art. I'm just going for the visual look of the thing myself. So I kind of like look at it like a musical track, like a techno track kind of thing. I just like it because I like it. There's no story, there's no lore behind it. It's just is what it is.
I want to dive deeper. You know, you say that you like it because you like it, and I completely get that, right? There, but I wonder if aside from the sort of cultural influence of growing up in Manchester and acid house, you know, there does seem to be this gravitation in your work across time to, I don't want to say chaos. That's not like the right word, but like hyperactive, like high energy, dance. Like, I mean, even Glitch has a very, you know, sort of high movement, high vibration, high energy sort of feel to it, just kind of by design. Is there something you think about outside of, you know, growing up in Manchester and the influences? Is there something else from your life or something maybe even deeper internal that kind of draws you to that and pulls you in that direction and has that sort of, as you described, like I like it, you know?
Yeah, well, I am the middle child, so they say we say we got left to our own devices. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I feel like deep down, actually, when I got into the digital art kind of thing, I kind of like I am a father. I've got a family to keep, so I kind of had to step away from the the proper high octane music life
Hmm.
kind of thing. And I suppose I still love it, and I'm trying to recreate it in another world. If that's what I am, that's making a music project is my end game kind of thing.
I want to talk about your newest collection that is on Ethereum, Front Run.
Oh yeah,
Ownership itself becomes part of the artwork. What
yeah,
interests you about that idea?
um, yeah. Just like I think the Ethereum address itself, the OX address, is kind of an iconic part of Web3 kind of thing. And I think like allowing that to actually build the tunnel, the man's running, but so when you mint, the mint transaction will decide your palette and your glitch style, but your wallet will actually feed data into the tunnel, and the tunnel will look different for whichever wallet it's in. You see, so it's kind of like your wallet helps build the art. So you're not buying a GIF here, or you're not buying an art. You're not buying a video of a guy running. You're basically buying a small snippet. You're minting a small snippet of code that anytime it's viewed, it will display what's it. It'll display it, and whichever wallet it is in, it will look different. So yeah, I'm really into like you know on-chain art, and this is I'm excited to see how this one rolls out.
Yeah. What else would you like to share with the viewers about this newest collection?
Uh, Yeah, it's just if you want to get involved and you already own any of my art at all, like hit me up in DMs and I can add your wallet to the whitelist. DMs are absolutely shot at the moment. I've got many people asking to get involved. It's busy, but obviously anyone who's already supported me, if you're on Ordinals or any other chain, like don't feel free, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I've definitely got a spot for you. You know, this is a fully on chain on Ethereum, so if you've got an Ethereum wallet, that's all you need really.
Why was Ethereum the right location for this collection? Obviously, and it's been interesting. As I was looking at your body of work, you know, it was very Tezos focused with a little bit of Ethereum, and then it became very Ethereum focused with a little bit of Bitcoin, and then it became very Bitcoin focused with a little bit of Ethereum. Is that a fair? You know, that was my view of it, but do you see it the same way, and why sort
Yeah.
of this return to
So
Ethereum?
I think as my art journey matures, I've kind of leaning towards like using which blockchain you use. I want to use it for a certain reason.
Hmm.
So Ethereum, like I said, the iconic Ethereum OX address, like this is a key part of this. It could very well have been built on Bitcoin, this collection, but on Ethereum, it's number one for myself. It's a harder nut to crack, and with smart contracts and stuff like that, I wanted to break into that. I'm an explorer, and I like to, you know, do new stuff all the time. I don't ever like to stay on the same level. If I build one thing, the next thing I want it to grow off that. So that's why I chose Ethereum for that one in a opposition to the Ord Lot on Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin native project. You know, that's like that collection uses parent child. It leans into the proper ordinals capabilities, and it could only exist on Bitcoin. That collection could only be on Bitcoin because of the parent child relationship, and that's a Bitcoin native. So moving forward, I think that's like the way forward. I'm only going to be doing like blockchain native stuff. I have got another big project planned on Bitcoin in the future, and I can't tell you much about it. But we're delving deep into the DMT world. Let's just say
Oh yes.
with music and acid.
With music and acid, you said?
Yes,
Wow. I'm very excited for that. I am a huge fan of digital matter theory. Sticking back to the Ord Lot, Ord Lot feels less like a collection and more like a living system. Is that how you see it?
Odd Lot's one of the greatest things I've ever created in my life. I look at it, I can watch it, I can put a song on and watch the full thing. I absolutely. I know some people are a fan of their own art, but I'm a massive fan of this particular thing. I put it on the big screen. My kids love it. Two of my kids have drawn pizzas what are actually in there walking around. So
Wow.
yeah, Odd Lot is actually it's a love letter to my own art and Ordinals itself. So it's kind of like the characters you see walking around. Like a whole lot of them have already come from existing artworks. You see,
Yeah, I have the Red Devil.
you're doing the Red Devil is actually come from Skullx collaboration.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of
Uh,
like what I'm trying to do is I draw a lot of characters over the years. I've drawn many characters. And what I'm trying to do is put them all together, not just into one collection, but into one artwork. I don't think it's ever been done before, and I'm currently at about 52. Um, but as well as putting my own characters, there's going to be like homages to classic Ordinals characters and people in Web3, like kind of thing. We've already got Elon Musk in there, kind of thing, and Pepe. So this,
at what point you go?
as a native, like all art I've ever made, I've always minted it somewhere. So I feel that like when I've got art, what I've drawn on my iPad and on my system on my computer, what I've drawn, but it's never been minted anywhere. I feel like it's not proper art yet. You see, so this is an attempt to get every piece of art what I've got, like, or what I've never used before, or sometimes I've like done, like tried to enter competitions and made art pieces for that, and they just kind of I feel like they've gone to waste. So this is my attempt to bring them all to the mother chain, like every one of them. We've got 210 spots. We've got like 160 spots to fill now. So we'll get there in the end, I think.
I have kind of two questions in one. At what point does an artwork stop belonging entirely to the artist and start belonging to the community? Many artists treat their collectors as owners. You often seem to treat collectors as participants. Is that intentional?
Yeah, I do like to get artists involved. I mean, sorry, I do actually like to like collectors to get involved. Ord Lot is a prime example where every holder who grabs a piece can tag the wall. We've actually got a complicated other parent-child system inside there. So as well as the parent-child. If for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, I'll tell you a little bit about the Ord Lot. So the Ord Lot is a parent, which is a music player stored on Bitcoin. It's got an upload button where you can add music to it, and it reacts to the music. But also, there's something inside the code where anytime it uses the rarely spoke about ordinal feature of our children. So anytime a child is born under that parent, it it populates the dance floor kind of thing. So every time a new PFP is born into the thing, it joins the party. So now we've got like up to now we've got like 47 characters inside the party. You can play music and it keeps growing. So that's how it works. But also inside there, we've got like a vibe layer. I've saved using a thing called sat endpoints. I've made it
Is that
so
the crowd simulator?
yeah, that's the crowd simulator, is that? But inside the crowd simulator, I've got one thing that I can change using reinscriptions and sat endpoints. I've got one of the layers that I can change. You see, so I can change the background. So inside there, we've got another parent-child system of a woman walking holding a sign, and we can change the if we give her child becomes a sign what she carries across the thing. So yeah, you've actually signed it already. Your one is on there now. So it's a bit
I don't think I
complicated.
appreciated that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's actually a second parent-child system that lives inside the parent. If that makes any sense to anyone who understands ordinals. So it's like this. Um, the Ord Lot is a parent-child exploration kind of thing. I don't think it's been touched upon as much as the things you can do. Like there's using that system that I've done with the Ord Lot. You could do many, many, many things. I know on ordinals right now, innovation's slow. Like pixel art does better than innovative works, but the tools are all there available.
Where did this idea come from for the Ord Lot? The music player, the crowd simulator, the recursive artwork, the social experiment all at once. Where did this idea come from?
There is actually a project called Crowd Simulator that uses a similar system. I need to give them a shout out. So this is my first shout out to them. It's like an open source project. It's not exactly the same as mine. It doesn't use parent child or anything. It's just like a big crowd walking around. So I saw that and kind of made an ordinals version kind of thing with music, and it was a way to get. Like I said, I had a light bulb moment where I thought of the way I can get all my art into one artwork. Because that's the key thing here. What people might not realize, this is much a legacy piece of art for me as anything, and I'm not trying to shill it or anything, but like if you'd want to be involved, like these are ones that I've drawn, kind of thing. So it's all there available. You can check it out in my bio, I think. Thank you yourself for picking one up.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw that it was a possibility, and I it was funny because I saw the Red Devil in the piece, and I was like, he stood out to me. And then whenever I saw that he was available, I was like, oh, I have to get this. And I remember when you reached out and asked me, to about participating and putting something on the board. What role does participation play in practice?
Can you rephrase in practice? Like,
Yeah, for you as the composer, I guess let me say it this way. It seems to me, knowing your DJ and music background, that the invitation to participate is almost like the way I imagine a DJ is controlling the crowd, or not controlling, but like influencing the crowd, in asking the crowd to participate in the orchestration. Is that a fair comparison?
yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. I feel like network art is an untouched thing. The fact that you can interact with an artwork with the collectors of the piece is an amazing thing. I did do a piece on a Ethereum early on, which loads of collectors got involved in. I kind of made like a blank artwork, and then people bought it, and then they all give me ideas. They came in with this, give me ideas, and they added some of the ideas, and then we all debated which ideas to add. It took about a couple of months to finish the piece off. Then in the end, I named all the collectors in the artwork. Some of them have actually become renowned artists in themselves now since the AI bubble, AI revolution. But yeah, that was like kind of early network art, I'd say. So
I've never
because of
heard
it,
anyone use that term.
network art, yeah, I've heard it
I've
said
never
a
heard
lot.
it.
Yeah, network art is like art that people get involved in. Like with the proliferation of AI, people are making artworks that other people can like kind of control or make what the art's going to look like for some of the characters. And then I think collectors love it. And me as a creator, it's new grounds for fertile grounds for creativity. So I'm in.
Does it, is it, with the proliferation of AI, is network art like a counterforce to an AI? Is that a good way of looking at it?
No network art. Some network art might be, but the ones I've seen have been where AI has been utilized.
Okay.
AI has been because it's not just one artist now. There's the AI is the artist, and the collectors are kind of putting the input into what the art's going to look like before it's done.
Okay. Is this kind of like
I think Nami's art is in what you would call at work, that's on Ethereum, what would call network art.
interesting? Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that and maybe talk to you a little bit more about it offline. I want to keep us
Yeah, definitely.
on
Network
schedule.
acid, I'm thinking of.
Um, you use the phrase "legacy locked" repeatedly this year. What does that phrase mean to you?
Oh, yeah, so Legacy Locked. I think it came from on Ethereum. On Bitcoin. In the early days, we was minting across many platforms. Wasn't using parent-child for additions because it was none of the platforms where you did do additions offered the chance to do parent-child. So you kind of really had to go out your way to do additions as a parent-child. Like so, for instance, Gamma Prince. Like shout out to Gamma. I was there from the start of them, but they didn't do the parent-child stuff. So it kind of ended up where you had like for every edition that you dropped, it was a different collection. I had like 25 different collections for different editions, and it was a mess. Like for collectors, for checking out my portfolio, for legacy, it was a mess. So legacy locked kind of refers to the galleries, which was the new feature offered by Ordinals to organize your stuff. So I kind of went through it and organized everything into, as I said before, detailed, organized collections. For instance, every single edition I've ever released on Bitcoin is all in one collection now. So you can see the rarities, you can see who holds what. One guy actually owns a full set. The only person owns one full set, which is
I
like
saw that.
35. Yeah, even I don't own a full set. So you can see it,
Shout out to that collector,
and
whoever
the
he
fact is,
is.
I kind of I know about scarcity and that, and I'm kind of now I'm a bit more organized with my journey, artist journey. There might not be any more editions dropping, random editions dropping out of the blue, because I'm working on other stuff at the moment. So that's kind of my legacy there. And if you wanted to get involved in it, it's there. You can see how many pieces there are. We can't add anything more to the collection. So it's kind of a beautiful thing. Galleries, I'm really impressed with it. I'm so glad it came along.
And as I was reading through your timeline, one thing that struck me is you seem less interested in preserving individual artworks and more interested in preserving the evolution between them. Is that fair?
Can you say that again, bro?
Like, it seemed to me, because you once described your early Bitcoin provenance as a Frankenstein's monster, um,
Yeah,
and 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 it seemed to me that in trying to organize them, you seemed more concerned with conserving or preserving the connection between them as opposed to just preserving their existence. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Is that fair? I guess that was just my observation, but is that a fair
Well,
observation?
existence wise, the this is out on Bitcoin, so we know it's locked. It's not going anywhere. It's going to likely outlive all of us. But how to find it was a real problem. Yeah, it was a Frankenstein's monster. I had at the very start, I had a grandparent. That grandparent actually accidentally got sent to Coinbase. Um, so I sent like that was my grandparent. So I had to like use one of the children as a surrogate grandparent, and it was a mess. So then I did start another timeline, um, and that gets messy because when you're minting, like I minted a collection out, 200 pieces, block party, and I did them one by one. So I made mistakes. You know what I mean? Now and again, I make mistakes. I had to reinscribe pieces, and it's all on show. You know, it's the dangerous thing, parent-child. So the fact when the galleries came along, that was a perfect way to organize everything. That was perfect. Like I know, parent-child is the gold standard. I'm aware of that, but at the same time, galleries are a beautiful thing. I think a lot of artists don't know about them yet. Like, especially with Ord.net, which honors galleries. Like the circle is complete with Ord.net and galleries.
What what responsibility do artists have to preserve their own history using things like galleries and parent child?
That's a great question. So I did see an artist have an argument on the timeline where about their pieces on Ethereum that are not that IPFS links, and they're like, no, it's up to the collector to preserve the art because on Ethereum, as you know, these we were sold a lie at the start. Like many creators on Ethereum, we didn't even understand what an IPFS link was. We think we're selling on chain art, and then later down the line we find out no, actually someone's paying to pin it, and as soon as they stop paying to pin it, it's going to disappear. So I do think it's up to the creator to keep it. So I myself have got all my stuff, my old stuff from the old days pinned on Ethereum. It's up to me, yeah. But if it does come to later on in life, like where someone does own my art and it is worth money, then they should pin it as well, kind of thing. So yeah, I do think it's with Bitcoin though, it's a completely different story because it's just a digital artifact that lives on Ethereum. I mean, on Bitcoin. So it is what it is. It can't go anywhere. The artist, he should put a signpost to it, but he doesn't have to do anything to actually, you know, preserve it. It's done. The deal is already done. You've got the art, and he's got the Bitcoin.
Um, er- er- Earlier this year, you spoke candidly about the challenges of supporting a family through art. How has fatherhood influenced your creative journey? I know we've kind of already touched on this, but we're getting towards the end here.
Yeah, yeah. So my children have always been there from the start since I first made my first artwork. Like I've, I'm always showing it to them and seeing whether they like it. Like when they was younger, they're like, does that look scary? When I was making like dark glitch art, or when I'm making parrots, like the dancing parrots, they're the first people to take them to. Are these funny? So they've always been involved. Yeah, they've been there from the start, and they're all budding artists themselves. Like
You left one creative life behind in the music industry and started building another. Yeah, I have no doubt that you are on the right path, and I believe that Bitcoin art will have its moment. In my belief, and just give public kudos to you. And obviously, we're still so early. I've analogized the moment we're in right now with Bitcoin art as being the way graffiti art was viewed during the 70s and 80s, which it was not viewed very favorably until the late 90s, early 2000s. And then all of a sudden you see graffiti artists, pieces selling for, a lot of money. And not that money is all that is needed in the artistic journey or what we're necessarily pursuing, but definitely a nice side effect if it is to come. And I hope that for your work.
I
Um,
do, I do believe that to be. I do believe that to be true. I do believe that art on Bitcoin, it's a no-brainer. It's like one of the best places in the planet you could store digital art. Well, not. I do believe that some of the early art on Bitcoin is like akin to the early art on Ethereum, when people was buying in 2018, and then by 2020 it was worth ridiculous amounts of money. When it will happen, I don't know, but I do believe that, like for instance, curse collections and things like that, I believe they're massively undervalued. And one day, I don't know which day, that the archaeologists will come and they're gonna want to know about the timeline and the provenance of art on Bitcoin.
what do collectors misunderstand the most about digital art?
Um, what do they misunderstand the most? It's a hard question. Um, I think, well, not throwing any shades on AI, but I think a lot of them don't value the human touch as much as they should, kind of thing. Where if someone spends a month making art and then someone prompts a collection, I personally believe that the one made by hand should be valued higher. That's just me.
What do artists
Although I'm not
misunderstand?
anti AI. I'm not anti AI. I've got my. I am a big fan of AI video, and I am planning to have a play with it in the future when I get some time. But sorry, can you say that again, my friend?
No, no, no. You go.
Um, I can't remember where we was now.
Well, you were
So,
saying, I think you were basically saying that human art should be viewed differently than AI art, but you kind of do understand, there's uses for AI art, and you were saying, I'm thinking about dabbling in AI video. I don't know if there was more to that, but that was what I last heard.
yeah. AI videos are massively fertile ground for creativity. I don't think I could ever one shot like a song and say I've made this song, or one shot an image and say I've made this image. That's just me as a creator for my own creative integrity. I don't think I could do that. I know some people do, and some people love it. But personally, if I, especially with music, there's no way I could tell like an AI to make me a song and then say that was my song. Like for me, there's no glory in that.
Hmm.
Although I do think there's probably AI could help with music. I do think it could help, and there's a lot. That's another untapped frontier.
What do artists misunderstand the most about Bitcoin?
Um, I think a lot of them don't know about libraries and the things you can do. And recursion, I don't think that's not common knowledge among artists who are not on Bitcoin. Recursion and the fact of what you can do, but it all comes down to understanding how code-based art is made. Before you understand recursion, there's layers to understand. I think also they don't know that fees are right down. Like at the moment, for me, putting out on Bitcoin and putting out on Ethereum on chain is pretty much the exact same price. So there's not much difference to it there for on chain artists. I think none of them know about parent child. think that all the artists who come through, a lot of the artists who came through Gamma and that kind of thing, have not set up galleries yet, which I think they should, because there's a lot of discovered artwork and good artwork that came through Gamma, really good artwork, and places like Ord.net now with like a great way to search for art. I think that we should get all the art on there, everything we can. I'm going to be shouting that from the rooftops. I've already got a couple of artists I know to set up galleries. So yeah, I'm going to keep on that.
If someone discovers Solemn for the first time through this interview, where should they begin with your art?
So I've got a website. It's not perfect yet, but I've got a
Is there
link
a
in
collection that
my
they should
bio,
start with?
which you can check out. It depends where you want to go. Like if you want to go deep into the psyche of Solemn, I'd say go to the days. That's raw, uncut, like no agendas, no trying to be part of anything. That's just raw art from the heart. You know, the everydays. It's if I sometimes get lost in it, looking at it like, wow, how did I make that? You can see my style, what my style is now. You can see it evolve slowly, piece by piece, to where it is now, kind of thing. If you wanted to check out something cool, I'd say check out the Ord Lot and get the parent up in full screen on your screen. Play a few tracks on it, see how you like it. Who knows? Maybe you want a packet, grab yourself a piece, hit me up in DMs, and you can tag the tag. You can tag the tag leader. um, or
Yes,
to
it
see the
does.
programmable gifts in action. Renaissance, I'd say Renaissance on a Ethereum. That's like where I made a collection on chain on Ethereum of 1-1s, really tight margins. Talking pieces of 36 kilobytes. That's what I'd call proper programmable gifts. And yeah, if you're looking for a new up and coming mint where you might pull a rare, we've got Front Run coming up soon on Ethereum.
What's the launch date for
Stay
Front Run?
tuned for that one. The Front Run launch date is coming up late next week or early the week after. We're just finalising everything. But I'd say stay tuned to the timeline to catch that one because it's going to be a hot one.
Perfect. We will make
And
sure we
like I
share
said,
it here on
if you
V3 Digital.
collect my art, like I said to my collectors, like you're welcome to join. So hit me up in DMs. I've got you.
And I know whenever we were talking pre recording, there was something you wanted to mention to your collectors. I think I could be wrong there, but is there anything you wanted to say
Yeah,
before I ask my last question?
yeah. I just want to put it across. Yeah. I just wanted to put it across. Like, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's supported me out here, especially on Bitcoin in the past couple of years. Like, I know I've made a couple of promises. I'm going to set up a Discord and a community, and I know it would be good. On paper, it would be good, but what I'm trying to say is at the moment, I'm like in the middle of so much of a burst of creativity. If I set up a Discord, it's not going to, I don't think I can man it. I can't run a community right now because I'm just in the middle of like inventive mode. I do plan to have one in the future, so stay tuned for that. And much love and thank you.
When people look back at your work 20 years from now, what do you hope that they understand?
Um, well, depending if they come from my last couple of years journey through Bitcoin and into on-chain Ethereum and back to Bitcoin. I hope that they can see the innovation, because a lot of the work I'm trying to innovate with them as well as make artwork. But if they went back to my earlier works, maybe they'd like, I'd hope that they got the pieces, but the art for art's sake collections early on, like for instance the everydays, like I hope they just get it. Some of them have got a bit of humor. If they got the humorous joke, it's buried deep inside of them, then all the more, even better.
Solemn, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for coming on E3 Digital. I will have links to your website in the YouTube description, as well as to your X profile. If you've made it this far, please reach out to Solemn, give him a follow, be on the lookout for Front Runners, the collection dropping here in the next couple of weeks. You want to make sure you're stay tuned to the X profile for mint and drop dates. And so, Solemn, thank you for your time and thank you for coming on E3 Digital.
Yeah, thanks for having me up. It's been great. It's been really good to talk about my art, and you did your research properly. And I can't thank you enough for getting me on. It feels good, and I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for watching, listening. Much love, Solemn.